Hello. Right. Hopefully this is working. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heavy Repping. My name is John Tron Davidson, and I'm here on our YouTube doing a live stream. This is my second time doing this. I'm not especially technically gifted when it comes to the tube, but I shall do my best. Now, there is a chat. Please. Someone is in the chat. Everything is working. That's grand. Can you hear me okay? Let's just make sure I don't have the debacle that I had the last time that I tried to do this. Excellent. Good afternoon, sir. How's it going, eh? Nice to see you. So I'm going to take my cans off because I can hear myself just fine, and that's all good. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Plectroverse Live. I've actually been a little bit nervous about doing this, but also kind of looking forward to it at the same time. Now, I've got a few things I'm going to get through tonight. They're all written here in my little book of things, along with some of my beautiful drawings that are technical at best. I'd like to do a couple of shout-outs. First of all, of course, big shout-outs to DawMan, who sent me this t-shirt, which is super cool. Igor did an interview with me a little while ago, which you can find at heavyrepping.com. And good evening. And I was very pleased to do that. He's got some wonderful stuff which I've got in here. And I shall make a special little mention because I know that my good friend JmetalR is on Tube, and he sent me this, which is one of DawMan's UFO series. I'm extremely grateful for that. So thank you very much. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff I want to get onto tonight. Normally I do all of my editing and my chat and all the rest of it, and I film miles in advance. It has not been possible of late because life is currently very demanding with a full-time job and a radio show and this and having a relationship and all the other stuff that I do outside of the rep. But there have been some incredible things taking place. So just to give you a wee idea of what we're going to be talking about tonight, I've got some new stuff that's come in post, some really serious stuff that came in the post this morning, a couple of things that have turned up in the last few days. I also have a few things that I've been really impressed with recently, which I'm going to share with you. Very, very excited about that. And what's going to be coming up in the coming weeks. But I've also got a little thing I want to talk about in regards to materials, so we'll come on to that later on. First of all, though, big shout outs, first of all, to you. You're watching this, you're watching it on YouTube. I appreciate that very much. I don't take anyone in the Plectroverse for granted. That would be completely wrong. I'm only being seen by you because you have elected to watch me. I genuinely can't thank you enough. So thank you very much for that. I would also like to give a wee shout out to Manson's here in Exeter because they employ me, but also because they have put me in charge of picks at the shop, which is pretty cool. So it means I get to get some fun stuff in, mostly from Dunlop and VPix, though I shall do my best to try and incorporate more things as time goes on. In the meantime, though, I want to talk about some new stuff. So new stuff, obviously, is incredibly important to me. I don't make an awful lot of money, and I don't get sent all that much stuff for free, though I do appreciate all the stuff that I do get sent or any rates that I get or what have you. I'm just being totally honest with you guys, as I shall always endeavor to be. But, ladies and gentlemen, I had a couple of fantastic things arrive in the post in the last couple of days. The first of which I'm going to share with you is this, well, a whole bunch of these. This comes from Esseti Picks. Now, Esseti is based in Italy, and they sent me, I should say, sent me around 20 picks. Now, these are not cheap, right? And they're all made from a whole different host of materials. I do appreciate the fact that although he sent me a letter explaining about the brand, the catalogue letter was in Italian, so I had to have a little bit of a closer look at it. Tutto bene, tutto bene. However, there's a whole bunch of different things in here, all different materials, sizes. He seems to be really, really into this whole finger recess thing. Everything is really thick. I think the thinnest thing I've got here is probably 2 millimeters. And even at 2 mil, it's still got swellings and all the rest of it. He does all sorts of materials. We've got Ultex here. We've got Tagua. I've got some stuff I haven't come across before, which is really cool. I haven't had a chance to go through the whole list. I've been really impressed with these. Super, super nice. I will also say the reason I got into these in the first place is because I got talking to, of all people, Mrs. Smith, the beautifully attired cat-loving shredder, who told me that she uses Esseti picks, and that's what got me on to this stuff in the first place. I got in touch with the gentleman in question and said, "How much is your shipping?" And he went, "Oh, shipping! I send you everything." So he sent me like everything he makes. Incredibly kind of him. Genuinely, if you're watching this, man, thank you. Thank you. I'll do a proper feature on these on Instagram tomorrow. There will be reviews coming up. I've got so many reviews of things stacked up in the back that I don't even know where to begin with it. Things for Anatomy of Sound, for more VPIC stuff, BHL, for Dragon picks, for Pigtrum, all that sort of thing. Well, I'll come on to Pigtrum a little later on in the broadcast. Esseti is very exciting then. Really, really chuffed with these, and I'll give you a full report on that in due course. However, let us move on. The other thing that I want to talk to you about, pretty outrageous, not going to lie, even for me in the Plectroverse, is this. Hoping you can see that in my... Yeah, look at that. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are... hello, other people. Nice to see you. I'm focusing so much on the camera, my apologies. This is a Killy Nonis turbo. And the turbo is a gypsy jazz pick. It's got brass. Yeah, I know. It's got brass in the front. And I quote, his signature green sticky stuff on the back. Now, I'm not 100% sure what material this is made from. I will tell you this, though. It's tough as nails because I was properly lamping it at a jam last night with big Paul Gilbert. Shout outs, Paul Gilbert, my God. Tom Gilbert. Tom, I'm very sorry. Tom from Probably Not, the incredible Probably Not, and OK Bye, and Dear Anyone. Tom is a dude. He's a great drummer. Really, really enjoyed playing with him. And I was using this to knock 7 bells out of my Strat last night. Do I have any solid brass picks? Do you know what, Rens? Yes, I do. I have them somewhere. Give me 2 seconds. I would also like to say, seeing as he has appeared in the chat, big shout out to Mr. Chris Aldrich of Dragon Picks. I'm going to be talking about you in a minute, mate. So you just hold your horses. This, on the other hand, this Killy Nonis is beautifully, beautifully made. It's stupid tough. I've got a big problem with hitting my the screws next to my pickups a lot because I, tend to get stuck in when I'm getting carried away. And this really, really holds up incredibly well. I'm not against you sending me the brass one if you really want to. It won't be an inconvenience. I'm sure I will live. If you can take your time away from like chiseling boats and stuff, if you want to send it over. But I would encourage you, if you are in any way interested in gypsy jazz, go and check these out. They are beautifully, beautifully made and surprisingly cheap. Obviously, that is relative in the Plectroverse, as it is in all things. But Killy Nonis, amazing stuff. I'm not sure how to do things like links and stuff in these, but I'm sure I will be able to figure that out in due course. So that is what is new, and that is what has come through the office in the last little while. However, I would like to talk about some stuff that has really, really impressed me in the last little while. The first one I will start with, seeing as he is here, I'd like to talk to you about Dragon Picks. Now, Chris is somebody I came across on Facebook, and I do these little sweeps of like Etsy and all the rest of it whenever I get a chance, usually every couple of days. I have a sweep through Etsy and I have a sweep through Facebook and Instagram, see if there's anybody I haven't come across yet. There's plenty of people I haven't had a chance to get access to so far. Oh, excuse me. So far. However, Chris was extremely kind and sent me this and another one called the Dragon Bone, which I have in my... Gabrielle is also here. Hello, sir. He sent me this and another one. Chris's finishing. I know that all you guys out there, there's a lot of makers in the chat right now. The finishing on the Dragon Pick stuff is superb. Truly superb. If you get one of these and you look at it up close, this is a material called Juma, which is like a resin acrylic. Is it a resin acrylic cross or resin something cross? Hopefully correct me on that in the chat. These grip brilliantly. It grips like acrylic, but doesn't sound like acrylic. I'd say it's somewhere between, a very subtle difference between Keraunite and acrylic. And this is right in between those two things. I absolutely love this. The other one, I shall confess, in my resin and temp plastic, thank you very much. In my unyielding honesty with the Plectroverse, I shall say I haven't played the other one quite as much because, in all honesty, it's just too nice. It's so beautifully made, and I'm going to have to dig it out now. Hang on. Hold on. Live stream happening in real time. Organize your stuff, kids. Yeah. So, now what's happened here, you see, is I had it in my hand, and when in my excitement to show it to you, it slid under something else. No, that's fine. I've got it. It's fine. Ah, hello, Minty Fresh Penguin. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, it works better down here. Look at that. What a thing. Now, this is fluff. This, ladies and gentlemen, has bits of cactus in it. Is that not a glow? I know you won't be able to see this because of the color and everything, but it's got like little green bits and everything. It's incredible, that. So, Chris, props, man. You're making the good stuff. I know JmetalR is always going on about your gear, and rightly so, but heavy action. I love it. So, now that I have covered that topic fairly succinctly, I would like to talk about a couple of other people. One of the ones that has come in, and I'm sure you'll all have seen it on the gram recently because it's rather striking, is this. This is the Riki Le Plectrier bone skull. It was in a video that I just did, I think it was last week. I lose track of time. This is amazing. Ricky's stuff is expertly finished as well. He's got his own thing going on for sure. He does tend to make a little bit out with the realms of helpfulness sometimes. There's the gab shape is a bit weird, but the finishing is always really good. I love the fact that he put like little cheekbones in here, the fact that it's made from bone. Well, seeing as you have raised this in the chat in a public forum, it's probably best that you just go ahead and do it. I'm totally cool with it. You are, after all, the creator of this item. Rens is very kindly making some stuff for the giveaway that happened or that will be happening now that we've hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, for which I am extremely grateful. That's on Instagram, not YouTube, for all you pedants out there. So I'm very, very pleased about him offering to do that. It's extremely kind. I would also like to say, seeing as we are here, I'm going to talk about this thing. For those of you who haven't seen it, it is quite the event. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, no. Now, this was in a video previously, but as its creator is in the chat, I want to show this to you again. Hello. Hello. So, this is the Virtuoso from from Depic Argentina. and I incorrectly called it the Iophorus, which is one of the other models, but this thing's both ridiculous and amazing at the same time. I love the way this is made. I actually really like the way it sounds, and once you get used to it, because it requires a lot less thought than you would think. You would think with a thing like this, you got to put loads of effort into like holding on to it and doing this, that, and the next thing. It just sort of, if you just grip it even loosely, having that fulcrum in there, it sort of, it doesn't move around. It just sits there and you just get on with it. This is an amazing bit of thing. I have done a lot about this in a previous video, and I would strongly advise, if you want to know anything about it, do go and talk to Gabriel, because he is a wonderful lad. He answered all of my questions about it and even posed some other questions I hadn't thought about asking. So these are superb. He does normal picks as well, which I would also like to say. Very, very good. And I believe, you can correct me on this, it's made from PVC? PVC? Like water pipe? I mean, I know it's plastics get used in this trade all the time, but still, it's still exciting. A new adaptation for an existing technology. Fabulous. So, Killy Nonis, Esseti, Dragon Picks. I would like to also talk about Apophis. And yes, I was correct. Take that, life. I want to talk to you about these. Doctor Who. Is it Doctor Who? Sure. So these are made by Apophis Picks. I've got a few of these. These are made from acrylic, but I've been really, really impressed with them. They're Jazz XLs, which is my preferred size. There's a lot of different models of these, a lot of different shapes, different recesses, and so on. Although I have talked about them recently, there were a couple I didn't show in the video, like this. Look at that. See through it, everything. Now, for those of you who will probably like the empty, this one's got empty eyes in it. See my eye through it too. But he does do some with the eyes filled in. The Battle Worn series, which is my personal preference. It's an odd thing in the acrylic realm. I don't know whether it's because they are quite dense. I think we're looking at about 3 mils here, something like that. Let's have a look. That's in inches. That's no good to anybody. 3 millimeters, yes. These are 3 mil thick. But the thing that's interesting is that even though they're 3 mil and they're made from acrylic, which normally you should tell him I sent you. I believe he's offering a free pick with every order currently, because he's only just opened the Etsy. Yes. If it glows in the dark, of course I'm up for it. I'll get some stuff that glows in the dark right here. Where are we? Oh no! Shout out to Swiss Picks, Pete Punkowski with the atomic cheddar. These glow in the dark. I'm not going to show you now because I've got to get up and turn the lights off. I'm wearing terrible, terrible, terrible jogging bottoms underneath here, which I'm admitting to you. But yes, as you can see, I do a lot of jogging. So, this is true. I love this. I love that this is happening. This is a wonderful thing to see. So, I shall let you gentlemen talk amongst yourselves. This is on Etsy. Go and check him out. He's a wonderful, wonderful lad. He's making great stuff. The thing I was going to say about these is, even though they're acrylic, and acrylic does tend towards a fairly bright, relatively wayward and explosive sound, these manage to have a slightly more hooded quality, and the closest relative I can think of these at the moment is the Taylor Thermex Ultra, which is a brain-bendingly good plectrum for acoustic work. It hoods all the front over and manages to make the bass bloom out like that. That is the closest relative I can think of for the Apophis. So go and check them out. They're super, super good. And the stickers are wicked. I've got one here. Look at that. Yeah. Like that real reminds me of the NASA, the old any NASA shirts you used to get in the 90s. Slick. Anything that's 90s, I'm cool with that. Celebrate the 90s. It was the time before innocence got completely destroyed. We were that close. We had that much left. Anyway, so I'd like to move on now, and I talk about a company that I'd like to put a little bit of onus on for the time being, and say BHL, Brock Little, good lad, out in Hong Kong, even though he's from Australia. And he made this. This is the Hodor. Sir, an absolute pleasure. I shall see you in due course. I'll be in touch about that Stormtrooper thing as well, because you're making some hot stuff right now. Go and check out Dragon Pics on Instagram, Etsy, and all the rest of it. Chris is a dude. He ships with beautiful packaging. So it's a staunch recommendation from me at Heavy Repping. This is the BHL Hodor. It's a hefty old bird. I think we're talking 5mm. There's some very... I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. There's some very slight undulations on the top and bottom, so it's not straight. And that means that in an interesting move, whether you hold it this way around or that way around, it conforms to your fingers. Now, this is made from PSU or U-glass, which is unbelievably tough. It's basically Ultex with glass woven through it. It's crazy, crazy hard. Loads and loads of power, great articulation, very aggressive, but it's not as lumpy and sort of Cro-Magnon as you get from, there's a term, culture here at Heavy Repping, as you would get from something like, say, an Ultex, a Jazz 3 Ultex XL. It's not as blunt as that. It's because of the sweep and the fact the tip's been polished within an inch of its life. It's got plenty of sharpness to it. He also made this, which is the XL Assailant. Now, unfortunately, my selfie light that I'm using, check this thing out. This is my fancy new YouTubing tool. Clip-on job from the internet. Because he is because he's making, I forgot what I was saying now. This is basically, it's a Jazz XL, but it's much more aggressive. It's much thicker, and he's polished the edges and then roughened the top and back up. This is one of the most potent, swaggering Plectrums I've ever played. It really doesn't have, like, there's no apology with this one. It's like bang, 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 bang. No questions asked. I'm getting right in the front lines, right in the trenches, punch you in the face. Job's a good one. It's a banger. Brock's been a dude with me. He's always sent me the good stuff. He sent me that crazy Paul Gilbert thing. That's how organized my collection is. I don't even have to look when I'm looking for stuff. This is one of his other ones. Look at that. Pyoing. I would also like to tell you that these little pink bits, they glow in the dark. Yeah. I've talked about this before in my good-looking pics videos, but the grip is really good. It's mad aggressive. It's got a real, like, I would say as a parallel, if I was to compare it to other companies, Vinny from VPix, he's always got quite his pics have got kind of, hey man, nice, let's boogie sort of feel. Brock stuff doesn't. It's not like that. It's like, you know what's happening? You're getting down to what I'm doing. That's what's happening. It's got that sort of feel. There's no arrogance about it. It's just very matter of fact, confident, and I admire that. Little things, you know. He was also my very first experience of UHMWPE with the Megalodon, which was a weird experience when you've never tested that material before. But it's still one of my sort of abiding memories of getting into heavy repping, which is quite a cool thing. So now that I have discussed such matters, I would like to tell you about some stuff that's coming up in the coming weeks. I appreciate that these streams can go on for a long time, and I appreciate all of you who are watching. So I'm going to tell you about some stuff that's happening, that's coming up. I do have, just in a quick thing, I do have some experience with rock light. Now, do you mean rich light or do you mean rock resin? Because they're two different things, and I want to make sure before I stick my neck out. I can wait. It's fine. Let me know. A couple of things that are coming up this weekend. This weekend on Sunday, and Saturday, just Sunday. I am going to film a brand new episode of The Science. Sorry, I put these away. Sorry. It's a brand new episode of The Science, and in order to do that, I am going up to a company called Avalon Plastics up in Glastonbury, which is about an hour and a half from here, right near where my parents live. And I'm going up as a result of my interaction with SwitchPix, Paul at SwitchPix. They were getting some new materials done, which I can't talk about. I can tell you that they're being done, but I can't say anything about them. Yes, I have, as it happens. It's just to answer your question very quickly, rich light is what you're talking about. And I do have one pick from Sweeney. Where are we? Yeah, this stuff. Look. It's beautifully, beautifully made. This. Shout outs to Mark Sweeney, who overcame a great deal to make these picks for me. I don't take that for granted. He's got crazy, crazy lines. Look at that. Mad stuff. It's a weird experience. The grip is really good. The grip is really good. I don't know what it's like for longevity because I haven't played with it all that much, but I cycle so many things, it's kind of hard to tell. Beautifully made though. So give it a go. Why not? I mean, you've got plenty of experience with wood anyway. Sunday, I'm going to go up and film this thing because of Paul. So I want to say a big thank you to him for organizing that. I'm going to be filming the injection molding process, or as much of it as one can, as it all takes place inside a big machine. But that will be going out on this coming Tuesday, so a week today. I also have a request from Bailey from New World Picks. Shout outs to New World to talk about the best value cheap picks. And by cheap, I mean like under a $5, because as we all know, everyone who's in the chat knows that this can be something of an expensive hobby. I still think it's cheaper than pedals, but it's easier to run away with it. How many picks do I have? Just shy of 1,000 is the easy answer to that. The last time I counted, it was somewhere around the 850 area. But I don't really collect vintage stuff, so all of my stuff is new. It is cheaper than drugs. All of my stuff is new builders, and you know, all of you guys basically. So everyone that's in the chat that makes a pick, I think I've got a pick from all of you, as it happens. Yeah, so far, unless I'm mistaken. If you haven't sent me a pic yet, let's have a chat. Hit me up at Instagram at Heavy Repping, and we'll do the thing. But I'm going to go out and film this thing. I'm very much looking forward to it. I also have, fingers crossed, crossing my fingers like that, I have a new camera coming soon. So I'll be able to go and do some filming elsewhere. And there are some interviews I have lined up with Matthew Oram, very graciously, of Fidelity Guitars here in the UK. He's agreed to talk to me, which is very cool. Mark from Hello Sailor has also agreed to do I Rest My Case. A band from up the road called Sail, I've been talking about for ages, are going to do it as well. Hopefully Magic Bus, who are a really, really wicked band from down here in the Southwest, are going to come on board and do it. They've just gone out on tour with Chris Robinson from the Black Crows, the Chris Robinson Brotherhood. So and their keyboardist is ex-Kula Shaker guy. They are an extremely, extremely good band that I've been honored to play on my radio show before. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that with them. I also have some other stuff coming up in the new year. which I need to try and organize my life to fit in, but I'm going to do that for all of you. I'll do my absolute best for that. I would like to do some pedal demos and so on in the coming months, but I'm going to look to a colleague of mine here in Exeter for that. More news on that as it comes. He has also agreed to do an episode of I Rest My Case, and in fact, he's just started getting into heavy duty picks because of me. So you're welcome. It's okay. I'm looking forward also to receiving any number of things that are coming in the post soon. I've got stuff coming from Johnny Raven, stuff coming from Trident's picks, and a couple of things from Stone Age, because unfortunately Matt did what he always does and put stuff in the Etsy that I just couldn't avoid going for. So that is on its way. I will link to my radio show in the description. Thank you, darling. My incredibly supportive lady watching from the other room. So that will all be coming. I'm very much looking forward to sharing all of that with you, and I thank you for your continued support. I know I'm saying that a lot tonight, but I don't get to say it enough on the normal YouTube, so it's very important that you all know that. Now, some things that I do want to talk about, because I'm conscious of the time and I don't want to bore you all to tears, although I could do this all night because I rather enjoy it. I would like to talk very briefly about something I've been thinking about a lot recently, and it's about new materials. Now, the principal reason for this is one particular company that I'll come on to in a moment. But I've been thinking a lot about something my friend Dan said, who is currently making new picks, and he's been wanting to do a lot of stuff from Tagawa and to do recycled materials and so on. And I think because of the proliferation of things like acrylic in this trade, and nylon and Delrin and UHMWP and Torlon and Catchin and all that sort of stuff, it is worth looking in these times into alternatives to plastics. Now, the big problem that we've got with that in the Plectroverse is that one of the most important things you need a material that is going to be relatively easy to work with, especially if you are an independent company. You don't want something that's going to destroy your tools the way, say, UHMWPE does. You don't want to have something that's too labor intensive, because then you can't make the units and then it's difficult to supply. You have to have something that is relatively easy to get hold of, and isn't going to make your brain explode when you're trying to fix it. So some of the alternatives that have been touted are things like this. This is from Worf Shop. This is carbon fiber with a little bit of bronze going through it, because of course. Now, carbon fiber, like a lot of materials, works at certain thresholds and not at others. Acrylic, for example, I personally believe you don't really start getting anything out of it until you pass the 1.5 2 mil mark, because it can get a bit. Ooh, that I'm very interested in. Let us discuss this. It's just fun to say Damascus. Damascus steel looks wicked. I do have some steel here that I'm going to talk about in a second. The carbon fiber one's really interesting because theoretically it should really, really last. I have found that a little bit like Peak, the polyether ether ketone stuff, it does tend to shade. It does tend to send little shavings of black dust all over the place while you play, which is something of a stumbling block in a sense. But at the same time, I still think that it's got a very interesting tone. It's a little closer to stone than I was expecting, though it doesn't have the breathy, graceful quality you get from it. If I was doing, I tend to find that when I played these, I end up playing a lot of more Far Eastern sounding stuff, Arabian sort of sounding material. Don't know why it's so good for that. It just is. I'm not here to complain. I'm just here to enjoy it. The next material that's in my collection that I want to talk about is this. This is a rock hard plasma. This is absolutely true. It is a problem with that material, but it is the same as anything. It's like Tagawa sounds really good, but it does wear. Nylon's very bright, but it wears really quickly. I mean, these are just the nature of things, unfortunately. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is a rock hard plasma. These are made by Jerry's company, GPA Aerospace, trading as rock hard picks. These are given a carbon nano coating. That's the sort of stuff they use to coat night vision equipment for the military. And these picks are exquisitely made. Now, they don't make anything. Well, they make a pick made from solid diamonds, but I'm not shelling out $7,000 for a solid diamond plectrum. Like, that's like half a year's wages or slightly less. But these are incredible. And actually, if you think about it, rather than chewing through dozens and dozens and dozens of these, theoretically, you should be able to just buy their whole range and use them almost indefinitely, because it is steel and the impact strength is incredibly high. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that indeed. I'm going to come on to Mammoth Ivory in a minute. Hold your horses, or hod your weist, as we say in Glasgow. The other, obviously, I could talk about this mat at Stone Age all day, and all the other cats that are making from stone. Obviously, I have the principal ones in my. This is really, that camera's really annoying me because it's not doing it justice. Hang on, hold on. Look at that. Oh, there's a really, really nice picture of this. Hello. There's a really nice picture of this on my Instagram, which you've probably seen if you're on this channel, but nevertheless. Stone is a big one because I can see more and more people getting converted to it. I was talking to Max from the YMAG the other day. Big heavy shout outs to YMAG. Proper cats for whom I've got all the time in the world, and hopefully I'll be doing more with them in the coming weeks and months. But he was talking about his first experiences with stone and how he's really digging it. It is incredibly strong. The tone is really good, and I just think they're amazing, to be honest. I can see it doesn't have the one shortcoming with stone, and it's kind of neither here nor there in a sense, because there's so many other options out there for you. But the one shortcoming with stone is I don't like it on acoustic all that much, only because the upper register is incredibly pronounced on acoustic strings, whereas on electric strings, and especially with heavy gain, it really does just cut through beautifully. There's an elegance to it, a real genuine grace that you don't get with a lot of materials, and that's something I admire. It's why I've ended up with so much of his stuff, even though I don't play especially heavy music anymore, like weighty certainly, but I'm not a jaunty, genty, crunchy fan fret sort of guy. But I have seen a lot of people like Connor Kaminsky and people like that all using Stone Age, and there's a reason for it, of course. The one I really want to talk about, or the two I really want to talk about, if I'm honest, hold on. Have a rummage in my thing. Where is it? Nope. Damn. Hold on a minute. I'll be right back. Honestly, you can't get the staff, can you? I had it in my hand. Ah, there we go. Oh. Probably the least attractive I've ever been. Right. So, the two I really want to talk about are these two. I know this light is a little bright, but this is a Pigtrum. Comes all the way from Germany. And I'm hoping, if I adjust this, hold on. Hoping you'll be able to see this here. This has a pig's bottom on it. Yeah, you can just about see that. There we go. So these pigs are space picks. These are made from a plant. I think there's a plant-based copolymer. They're very, very tough. And even though I think personally they're a little long because I'm so used to playing Jazz 3 XLs, the fact that this is entirely, and I think it looks like it's been injection molded, but because it's made from plant materials, technically it should be something that perseveres quite nicely. Now, a friend of mine who plays mandolin tried one of these out, and he said for mando work they were great. I've tried these because I bought quite a few. I've tried these with the pig section. I haven't got any other term for it, but the pig section up and the pig section sanded off. And I do prefer it when they're flat because the material seems to grip unbelievably well. But I like the fact that he's put these on because, as I have mentioned in my video on grip, not all people are the same, and a lot of people will get a much better response from the bum grip than I did. In the same way that I don't hold UHMWPE very well, but I do really like the sound of it. This has great implications because the whole idea is to find a material that behaves like plastic without being plastic. And I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, that these are biodegradable as well. And now there are other companies out there like Plectro, who are in my thing over here. These guys who make picks out of corn maze. Now this is like watching the beginning of the Sistine Chapel. So these are 3D printed, but they're some of their earliest works. This is the version 2. They're now on version 6 or something. The tone of it's made from corn maze. I don't know what to tell you, but the tone is incredibly good. It's got a real sort of almost goofy, like hey sort of quality to it that I really liked. But it just shows this sort of stuff is coming out. It can be done. You know, I don't think it's a bit like it's a little bit like in a weird reverse way. It's like the whole Kemper Helix thing. I don't think that digital modeling, like Doritos but harder. I don't think the digital modeling thing will ever replace valve amps completely because they are at their core fundamentally very different things. There's a whole layer of nuance and interaction and harmonic depth that you get from valve stuff that you don't get from digital gear because it can only ever be a facsimile of something else. But, ladies and gentlemen, I will say 2 things about this. A little off topic, but we're all guitarists here, right? So I've been talking to a lot. There's a big covers band and function band thing down here in the Southwest. And I've been to a wedding recently where the band had no amps at all. It was all Blind 6 HX stomps, dark glass microtubes, etc., straight into the desk, electronic drum kit and everything. And for the punters in attendance, it was dead on. And I think for a lot of people doing modern extreme music, it makes complete sense to me that you would use that sort of system. I can understand it for touring bands, especially them using Kempers because they can profile. It's not the same, but then if you're looking at practicality, then I guess it's incredibly helpful. So this is kind of like the other way around. So we've got a reliance on acrylics and all the rest of it, and Delrin especially, and nylon. I completely understand that. And actually the modern pick trade is not that old. We're only going back to like the standardizations in 22 with D'Andrea and then 81 with Dunlop. So really there's no limit to what can be done with this. I mean, there's all sorts of guys, you know, using all sorts of things for all different sorts of stuff. But it is exciting to know. It's exciting to know that these materials exist, that people are pursuing it, that they're not ruling anything out. And I admire that. I think it's an important thing to do. I would also like to highlight, seeing as Rens has mentioned this is Mammoth Tusk. I've got a few blanks that I got from a guy. I don't know how he got it, but he got it from a guy in Siberia. Now I've got it. It's a great material. I think we cut it a little thick. It was like a 5mm blank that we shaved down. It doesn't. It's weird. It feels a little bit like Tagawa, but with the grip of Ultem. But it's like Tusk. Obviously from something that would died a long time ago. So, you know, I've got some horn picks as well, principally made by Thor in Germany, which are mostly for jazz. Horn's really good, but it chirps like nothing on earth. So while I do really like it, and it is very, very striking, it's not something I would use all the time. But then I'm not a jazz player by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, there's all sorts of scope out there. So if you've got a material that you think I should be checking out, let me know. Let me know, and I'll go and check it out. Now, I'm conscious of the time. I don't. There's going to be people watching this later on, and I would like them to watch the whole thing. Those of you who have stayed for the whole thing, I genuinely can't thank you enough. I'm going to do one of these a month for whenever I get an opportunity to do so, because it means I don't have to do a whole bunch of editing. But next week there will be Yars. Next week it'll be an episode of the science, and then we're going to do the cheapy stuff after that. And then I'm going to try and do some normal reviews. Those of you who have been waiting, and I know there are people who've been waiting on things like interview questions. I've just been so slammed. I haven't had a chance to do it. The articles that I've wanted to write, there's like 3 or 4 at least that are sitting on the website that just need to get published, that have fine details named done to them. My new website should be up by the end of the year, and I'll be speaking to some more of you about that in a little closer detail privately. So more information to come on that. But in the meantime, what I would really like to say is a massive, massive thanks to each and every one of you who are watching this live. For those of you who are watching it later on, thank you very, very much. Genuinely, it means an enormous amount to me, and I would venture a whole bunch of people down here who are makers in the Plectroverse. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to come to me with them and ask. I will always do my best to answer them honestly. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful week. My name is John Tron Davidson. This is Heavy Repping, and I shall see you soon. So just remember, if you're not sure what to do in life, rep hard and rep heavy.